you go to trial and a jury finds you not liable for assault. But the judge then comes and says, well, even though the jury found that you didn't assault the person, we're going to pretend as if the jury did find that you assaulted a person and make you pay $83 million. That is exactly what happened in the Carroll v. Trump lawsuit. Let's talk about it. So you may have heard in the news, Trump has been ordered to pay $83 million to writer E. Jean Carroll.
Donald Trump has been ordered to pay more than $83 million to E. Jean Carroll for defamation.
We just walked out to the OJ's For the Love of Money, which is the theme song of The Apprentice, and that's connected to the fact that you know who has to pay money, 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 money. Something like $83 million.
83.3.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Our next guest has sued Donald Trump twice, and she has won twice, most recently winning $83.3 million this past Friday. That's what a jury says that the former president owes E. Jean Carroll for defaming her in 2019.
For those of you who are not used to my legal deep dives, welcome to the channel, because this is going to be one of those. Now, with any legal case, we have to start with the facts. What actually happened? Now, this starts in 2019 when writer E. Jean Carroll published an article in New York Magazine stating that then President Donald Trump had assaulted her in a Bergdorf Goodman department store in New York back in the 90s. Now, Trump denied these allegations, saying that he did not commit any type of assault against E. Jean Carroll and defended himself. But remember, at this time, Trump was president. Here's what he said.
Overnight, President Trump accusing writer E. Jean Carroll of totally lying after she claimed that he sexually assaulted her in a dressing room in the mid-90s. The president telling The Hill, quote, "I'll say it with great respect. Number one, she's not my type. Number two, it never happened. It never happened, okay?"
So as you know, since you came forward, the president has denied all of this. Let me read to you his statement. He says on Friday, I've never met this person in my life. She's trying to sell a new book. That should indicate her motivation. It should be sold in the fiction section. No pictures, no surveillance, no video, no reports, no sales attendants around. I would like to thank Bergdorf Goodman for confirming they have no video footage of any such incident because it never happened.
So Trump denied the allegations, said they didn't happen, it wasn't true. And because he did deny those allegations and essentially called E. Jean Carroll a liar, she sued him for defamation. Now, as you guys know, I like to drop the receipts. So as you can see, this was filed in 2019, and this is E. Jean Carroll's initial lawsuit against Donald Trump. So we're going to call this Carroll v. Trump 1. Now, I've scrolled down to the bottom of the lawsuit. There's only one cause of action here, and that is for defamation. So that's all she was suing for. Now, it is extremely important to note that E. Jean Carroll specifically was alleging that Donald Trump raped her. And Donald Trump was specifically denying that he raped her. So the issue was, when Donald Trump said, "I didn't rape her," was that defamatory to E. Jean Carroll, who was saying that he did rape her. So now, the defamation lawsuit that was filed was totally dependent on whether E. Jean Carroll can prove that Trump raped her. Because remember, Trump's denial was, "I didn't rape her." Now, since this happened so long ago, there's no evidence. There's no video. It's really just the he said, she said case. But she's about to get some help. A lot of help. So now, while Carroll v. Trump 1 was pending, New York State passed what's known as the Adult Survivors Act. This is what it is.
The Adult Survivors Act lets victims, adult victims that is, sue over attacks that occurred even decades ago. A former Penthouse magazine model sued Axl Rose yesterday, claiming the Guns N' Roses singer raped her in 1989. Rose's attorney denied the claims. In two lawsuits filed yesterday, two women accused actor Cuba Gooding Jr. of groping them in 2018 and 2019. Another lawsuit filed this week accuses actor Jamie Foxx of sexual assault in an incident in 2015. More than 2,500 lawsuits have been filed under the temporary law this past year, including against former President Donald Trump, Sean Diddy Combs, and actor Russell Brand. Trump, Combs, and Brand have all denied the allegations.
So now, as you just heard in the news report, Donald Trump was sued under the Adult Survivors Act, and the person who sued him was E. Jean Carroll. All right, so let's step back to understand where we're at now. So we have two cases pending. We have Carroll v. Trump 1, which is just about defamation. Trump denying he raped her. And now we have Carroll v. Trump 2, which is about the Adult Survivors Act, where Carroll is going to have to prove that Trump actually assaulted her. All right, so you don't get lost in what's going on. The courts, in its infinite wisdom, said, we're going to handle the Adult Survivors Act case first. Now, you have to understand this. Since Carol has to prove that Trump raped her in Carol v. Trump 2, that would also be relevant to Carol v. Trump 1, because if she can prove that, hey, he did in fact rape me, then you have the defamation from the first case to say, okay, yeah, you see, I proved that he raped me, and when he denied raping me, then he defamed me. So the issue of whether Trump raped Carol was paramount to both cases. So the court said, let's deal with that first. Did Donald Trump rape E. Jean Carroll?
Well, jury selection has just wrapped up in the civil trial involving writer E. Jean Carroll and former President Donald Trump. Carroll alleges Trump raped her in a New York City department store in the 1990s. Allegations the former president has denied.
So we're all on the same page. Carol v. Trump 1 were about statements Trump made as president in 2019 denying the allegations. Now, in Carol v. Trump 2, this was just all about the Adult Survivors Act, and Carol added a defamation claim to that case because Trump, on Truth Social, when this case first hit, denied that he did it again. So she said, hey, that's also defamation. And this is what happened at the end of that case.
A New York jury has found former President Donald Trump liable for sexually abusing columnist E. Jean Carroll at a department store in the mid-1990s and later defaming her. But it stopped short of saying Mr. Trump raped her.
So at the end of that clip, the newscaster says the jury stopped short of saying that Mr. Trump raped her. No, the jury actually found that Trump did not rape her, that she did not prove she was raped by Donald Trump. Let's look at the verdict form. So here is the verdict form. E. Jean Carroll versus Donald Trump. And the first question, battery. Did Miss Carroll prove by a preponderance of the evidence that Mr. Trump raped Miss Carroll? No. The jury says no. She didn't prove it. Donald Trump did not rape Miss Carroll by a preponderance of the evidence. So this is clear. When Trump then said that he didn't rape Miss Carroll, that happened to be true. The jury agreed. Okay, so this is where I need you now to focus in. So remember, we still have the 2019 defamation case live, and the Trump v. Carroll case 2 has just gone to verdict, and the jury actually agrees with Trump and says, hey, he didn't rape her, but he assaulted her in a sexual manner, and he's liable for that. So now Trump's statements back in 2019 that he didn't rape her are absolutely true. The jury has evaluated that and said that didn't happen. So the original defamation case should just go away because the jury has found that he didn't rape her by a preponderance of the evidence. So now, to save their original defamation lawsuit, E. Jean Carroll's lawyers went to amend the complaint. They wanted to substitute every reference of the word rape and replace it with sexual assault. Now, this was because a jury just found that Trump didn't do that. He didn't rape her, but he sexually assaulted her. And since that happened to be the case, when he denied the allegations, it was true, and that would be fatal to her defamation case. So the judge rules that Trump really did rape E. Jean Carroll, even though the jury found that he did not rape E. Jean Carroll. That is literally his ruling. The finding that Miss Carroll failed to prove that she was raped within the meaning of the New York penal law does not mean that she failed to prove that Mr. Trump raped her, as many people commonly understand the word rape. Now, I need you to understand how crazy this is. E. Jean Carroll accuses Trump of rape. He denies it, and she says his denial is defaming her. They go to court, and now she has to prove that he raped her. They both put on evidence, and based on a preponderance of the evidence, the jury says that we can't find that he actually raped you. It's not liable. He didn't do it. But the judge says, well, the jury actually really meant that Trump did rape her. And when he said he didn't, that was defamatory. So you have these two competing issues. So now you have this kind of weird result where the jury on his jury form says, well, Trump didn't rape her, but then the judge says, well, even though they said that he didn't rape her, I'm still going to find that he did so she can get $83 million. So there was nothing to litigate except damages. So he told the jury to go back there and pick a number on how much money Trump should pay E. Jean Carroll for defamation. And this is what they came up with.
A jury in the United States has ordered Donald Trump to pay more than $80 million in damages for defamation to a journalist.
Well, Jane, the jury had one question before them. How much should Donald Trump pay for defaming E. Jean Carroll? A separate case in May had already decided the facts of this case, and he was fined $5 million at that time. So now this fine of $83.3 million is far more. And it took the jury less than 3 hours to come to this decision. Now, if we break it down, they decided to award E. Jean Carroll $7.3 million for emotional harm that Donald Trump had caused her, $11 million for reputational repair for her. But the big number, $65 million. The jury decided that was the amount that was needed to convince Donald Trump that he should think twice, at least stop defaming E. Jean Carroll.
So there you have it. I think this is probably one of the worst reasoned rulings I've ever seen. Someone ever. It reminds me of, it's like when someone says, I was robbed. A lot of times somebody will leave their bag down and somebody will steal their bag and they're like, somebody robbed me. And then you have to tell people, well, technically under the law, that's not a robbery. It's a theft, but it's not a robbery because robbery involves some type of force. Like if somebody punches you, it's a strong arm robbery. If somebody pulls a gun out, it's an armed robbery, those type of things. Robbery has an element of force. So if someone steals something from you without using force, it's just a simple theft. But colloquially, people don't really understand the difference between just a simple theft and a robbery. Everything's a robbery. People have a definition that they understand it to be, but then there's a legal technical definition. And when you go to court, you're not working with what everybody else understands it to be. You're working with the legal technical definitions. And this judge essentially is saying, well, even though there's a legal technical definition, we're in court and the jury found that under that legal and technical definition, you are not liable for rape or that you did not rape this woman. I'm going to say you did because technically under a colloquial everyday definition of the word, you did it. This is, no matter who you are, this is a horrible ruling. This is unbelievably bad. And I agree. If someone does something that is criminal or liable, they should pay, but not with this type of reasoning. It's just bad. It's just bad. And like I always say, let me know where I'm wrong in the comment section. If you really believe I'm wrong about this one, because I'm no fan of the Donald, but this is wrong. Like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.